I always thought when I was dating God's way, for some reason, that I had to sacrifice the desire for someone good looking for someone godly. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kimberly Louise. If you're new, if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I'm so glad that you're here and you are so welcome here. Today's video is a highly requested video. You guys wanted to know how I knew my husband was the one. So if that's something that you're interested in, then just keep on watching. So how I knew my husband was the one. If you guys have not already checked out How God Wrote Our Love Story, please go check that video out, because a lot of information is given in there from both of our perspectives to kind of discuss like how we met and all of that. But how I knew my husband was the one is just so, it's so God. So I'm just gonna jump right in because I know that's what y'all like. So I'm trying to give y'all what y'all like, all right? So the first things first, I prayed for my husband consistently. Years before I knew of him, years before I had a dream about his name, years before I had a dream that he was helping me move, years before. And so for me, one of the main prayers that I prayed was that God would show me immediately. So like when I met him, I wanted to know right then that he was the one, that this was the guy, that there was no doubt, that there was no confusion, nothing. Like I wanted that confirmation. So for years, I would pray for that because I can remember dating and just not being sure, like not being sure if this guy is a good guy, let alone my husband, right? Like I think we want to know, like at least for me, I wanted to know for sure. I didn't want to waste time. I don't like to waste time. I don't like to waste my energy. Like if I'm gonna kind of invest time in someone, I wanted to know for sure if this person was worth my time. Okay. So I prayed consistently for that. I'm also going to do a video on all the prayers that I prayed, but that was the main one that I prayed as far as like, so that when I met him, I knew. Okay. So y'all know, I like a ton of confirmations. I'm a confirmation girly. Like I'm never gonna just do something just off the fly. Like I need to know that I know that I know that I know. Okay. So when it comes to marriage, I just knew I was getting married one time, y'all. Like I was gonna do it the one time, and that was gonna be it. And so I just remember like thinking like, man, like if my family doesn't like him, that's gonna be tough. Like I remember feeling like that and like thinking like, man, like that would suck. Cause you know how like you'll hear stories about how the mother-in-law don't like the daughter-in-law, or the dad don't like the son, like just those little things that you see in like movies and stuff. And I was like, I just don't want that. Like I just want everybody to love everybody. I want everybody to get along. Like I just believe God can do that. And so one of the ways I knew my husband was the one is the way my family reacted when they met him. So I guess I could go down the list. So as soon as my mom met him, she was like, yep, he's the one. And I'm like, you've talked to him for 2 seconds, Mom. Like how, like how do you know this? Like, and she was like, it's just, I know. And it was weird, but it also was proof of my mom's relationship with the Lord. She just always would know when it wasn't the guy. And so I knew she should know when it is, right? And then the second person was my dad, and how he was like, hey, like I like him. This man has some substance to him. Like, wow. And he was like saying this with a smile. I was like, like, what's going on here, guys? Like, y'all don't understand. Like, my parents are very obviously protective, as they should be, right? But I'm a whole grown adult. Like, I'm not like a kid at this point. And so I just remember thinking, okay, so they like him. So then he talked to my cousin, and she's like, she likes him. And then I call my aunt and tell her, and she's like, oh, I know he's the one. I don't even need to meet him. And I'm like, you don't need to meet him? like, what are you saying? Like, because at this point, even though I knew God had shown me and had kind of was like, hey, this is the guy, I still had some, I would say reservations. I wouldn't call them doubts. I would say reservations, because for me, I need to see for myself. Like, I hear what you're saying, God, but also I'm gonna need to see with my own two eyes. And so I took a lot of time observing my husband. Okay, a lot of time observing. Y'all, I just didn't want to mess it up. This was something, this relationship was, I knew it was going to be the most important relationship in my life. And I just didn't want to mess, besides my relationship with the Lord, of course, but I just didn't want to mess this up and like do what I'd done in the past. And so I was so cautious, like almost to the point of like, I don't know, like I kept him at a distance in a way, because I was sure that he was my husband, but I also was like, all right, do I like him for real? You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta figure that out, ladies. Like, do you even like him? Like, cause you know what I'm saying? Like God gives us the right to choose, right? So if we have a right to choose, then we can decide like, I don't want to talk to him, whether God is confirming it or not. And I think that's what people don't realize. They think that God is just gonna put a man down in front of them and you just supposed to like everything about them. And it's like, I believe that we serve a loving God. And I just feel like if this person is for you, then the other things are gonna line up as well. Like you're gonna like him, right? You're gonna be attracted to him. Like your personalities are gonna mesh. Like all of that stuff is gonna work. And so I just took that time to kind of really watch him. I'm a very observant person. I watch everything, okay? I watch how you talk to your mama. I watch how you talk to the lady on the street. I watch how you talk to the drive-through. Like everybody, I'm watching, because I want to see if the person that you are showing me is the person that you are. So that was something that I did, y'all. Like I was, I was serious. Like I was not playing. Like y'all, relationships, if you are in relationships for the whole goal of getting married, then you need to be collecting data. All right, you need to be collecting that data, trying to figure out, is this person gonna work with me? Is this person gonna vibe with me? Okay, so that was one of the things I did. Then the next way I knew that he was the one was how much he loved the Lord, y'all. Like it was something I prayed for. I prayed for a man that loved the Lord more than me. And the reason being was because I knew that if he loved the Lord, man, he was gonna love me so well. Like it was gonna be nothing to him. And this man loved him some Jesus Christ. Like before anything, he's like, well, let's pray. Like during our dating relationship, he would pray these long prayers, and I laugh about it, but it was something that I just love, because I'm like, this man is gonna cover everybody in prayer. Like that's just him. Like that's not even something that, it was not specific to me. And that's, I told y'all, that's something I look for. Like, are you just doing this because you're trying to get me? Or is this like, is this you? You know, I want to know the difference. And so I was like, man, I didn't want a man that just went to church. Like, okay, you can go to church, but what is your relationship with the Lord like? Do you read your Bible? What's your quiet time look like? What is God showing you? Like I had questions. And so I was very diligent in asking those questions, and he was very diligent in giving me answers. Okay, because I guess he could see like I was very serious about when it came to that, because I had dated people in the past. Again, my past your past is gonna play a part. Even if you think you're kind of over some stuff, that stuff will pop back up and you don't even know where it's coming from. And so I can remember saying one time in a past dating relationship, I was like, I'm not gonna date a man if he doesn't read. If he just reads the Bible, like that's not enough. And I remember talking to my mentor, and she was like, but he read the Bible and that's not enough? Because in her mind, she like, if he read one book and it's the Bible, I think it's okay. And this is what I'm saying. Like this was prior to even meeting him. So when my husband was like, you know, I don't read as much as I should, but I do read my Bible every day, I wasn't shocked by it, because I think God had prepared me before that for that very same thing. Because my husband reads all the time now. He reads a little bit more than he used to, is what I would say. And so it's everybody's relationship with the Lord is going to be different. Their level of reading, books is going to be different. Some people are readers, some people are not. He's more of a listener. I'm more of a reader. Like, I like to have the actual book in my hand. So that was something I was like, okay, wow, like he actually like read the Bible. And I knew it because I would ask him questions. Y'all, listen, don't be afraid to ask the questions that you want the answers to, okay? Because I would ask him questions. I'm like, let's do a Bible study. Let's dig in. Let's talk about it. Let's see, like, because it's important. Like, y'all, we need to be on the same page. So that was a big deal to me. Like, I don't know. I just loved that he had his priorities in order. Like, it was God and then it was me, in a sense, right? Like, it was God, the church when we were dating, then it was me. When we got married, it became God and me. Like, and so that was like so cool, because I was like, man, like, this is so dope. Like, he really does have his priorities in order. Like, Lord, you was right. Y'all know I'm crazy. Not crazy. I ain't claiming that. I'm silly. So yeah, another way I knew he was the one was by how he treated me. So throughout our dating relationship, and we would have disagreements. I know some people might not realize that, but yeah, we absolutely would have disagreements. And I always say this about my husband. The way that he spoke to me was always level. He never raised his voice. He never like, nothing. It was his voice was going to be, okay, well, how did I make you feel like that? Okay, explain to me. Like, even if my voice was a little bit elevated, his voice never elevated. And I was like, what's wrong with him? Isn't that crazy? We asking what's wrong with somebody who doesn't raise their voice at us. The reason being was because I was in dysfunctional relationships. I thought you had to like argue and go at it to have a healthy relationship, because that's what I saw. Those are relationships that I was in. And so when you're in a healthy, godly relationship, you don't realize how unhealthy the other ones was until you are. Like, until you're in that healthy relationship, you start to see like, oh man, like I was really doing too much. Like, why I'm yelling and screaming? What is that? Like, he's helped me to realize like, hey, let's have a conversation. We ain't gotta yell. Because what we yelling for? And so him keeping his tone the same was always something that I admire about him, because people would say, oh, he just don't know how to speak up for himself. He absolutely does. He's just not going to yell and do it. Like, he gonna, listen, my man is a man, okay? Like, he gonna say what need to be said. He's just gonna do it in a respectful way. That's just him. And so I love that about him. That was another way I knew he was the one, because I needed someone who, I wouldn't even say calm me down. I know people say like, oh, you need somebody to calm you down. No, like, I wasn't not calm. I thought it was normal to argue like that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I thought that was like the norm. That was the usual. That's what we do. It's not. You got to realize when you're in dysfunctional situations and get out now. Okay. I knew he was the one by how he pursued me. He pursued me. I did not pursue him. I did not run him down. I didn't do none of that. He pursued me. The Bible says in Proverbs 18:22 that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and then obtains favor from the Lord. Even though we weren't married yet, we were dating, he knew that he had found his wife. And so the way that he went about it, it just, like, y'all, it was just the most respectful, just God-honoring dating relationship I've ever had. Like, I had never experienced this. And that's so sad to say. I was thinking about how, like, I would be like, hey, like, if you want to leave, when I started kind of really like falling for him and kind of like, oh my gosh, like, I love him. Like, oh, okay, my heart's getting in this. I would get nervous and scared and start to say, hey, if you want to leave, I understand. Because at that point, that was when guys would leave in my life. And so I knew he was the one because he never left. And he would repeat to me, babe, I'm not going anywhere. I'm meant to be here. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And he would have to repeat it to me, you guys. And he never got frustrated with me. And, you know, some guys would be like, man, if you want me to leave, I'm gonna leave. Like, he was just never that guy. And I'm so grateful that he was who he claimed to be. Because I was waiting for the ball to drop, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie. He'll tell you, I'm like, all right, you nice and all that, but when it's gonna go down? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you finna do? What girl are you talking to? What did you got a baby I don't know about? Like, just because of my dysfunctional relationships in my past, guys. That's why I think it's so important to really dig into that stuff, because once I realized what was happening and I started to really like go to God about that. I started to get counsel on that. I started to like really figure out, okay, why am I doing that? Like, why am I pushing him away when clearly he's the man for me? Like, why do we do that? So for me, I knew he was the one because he just kept showing me over and over and over and over and over again. And his patience and the way, like I said, the way he spoke to his mother, like, and anyone, like the way he held any door. It wasn't just like he was holding my door. You know what I'm saying? Like, you only hold my door, but other people, you like, nah, they got to fend for themselves. No, like, my husband will run and get the door for someone. Like, that's just the dude he is. Like, that's just the guy he is. And so his heart just for people, and he just loves people, and he's so kind. And y'all, like, he's just, I always tell people this, like, if you don't like Jotham, something's probably wrong with you. Like, I understand that people may not rock with me. Like, I'm an acquired taste. Like, either you love me or you just don't like me at all. Like, I accept that about myself. But with him, it's like, how? What did he do? Like, not that I'm doing anything. I'm just saying, like, for me, like, I might have that look. You know how people say you had a stank face? Sometimes my face just be, and I don't be thinking about nothing. I just be sitting there and my face just be, I'm like, Lord, make my face look happy. I don't want to look mad. But him, his face, he just always has this smile on his face. I feel like he never has an upset look on his face. Even if he going through something, like, he's just always gonna be, he's just like, he was like, cause what's the point? Like, his whole thing is, why am I worrying about things? God says not to worry about it. So we need to not worry. We need to trust. Like, that's my husband, y'all. That is my husband. And the last thing I want to talk about, actually, no, two things. One of the things was, I knew he was the one because I could not hold a grudge against him. I just couldn't. He was just so kind. Like, y'all, I could be big mad. I could be big mad. Y'all know what big mad mean. I could be big mad and still, like, I can remember one time I was like, I told him, I said, I just can't talk to you for an entire weekend. I need time to seek the Lord, all of this stuff. I just don't want to talk to you. And so the next day came, y'all. I had to call him. It was so weird because I was like, really, God? God was like, stop treating my son like that. That might be a word for you. I don't know who. But stop treating God's son like that. Like, God always checked me. Always checked me when it came to this man. He was like, you don't get to do that. Like, you prayed for this man and here he is, and you acting like this. You can't have a conversation like an adult. Like, I just couldn't hold a grudge against him. I realized I had never been in a completely healthy, godly relationship before, and this was proof. And the last way I knew that my husband was the one, y'all, I was so attracted to him. It was more than just the physical. Like, I was attracted to his mind. He's so intelligent. And just, you ever meet people who just know a lot about a lot? Like, they just know random facts about spaceships. Like, that's my husband. Like, he just, like, you could ask him the most random question. He'd be like, oh yeah, I read an article about that. And it was talking about, and I'd be like, bruh, how do you know? Why do you know this? But I love, like, that is something that I absolutely love about him. Babe, I love that about you. I always thought when I was dating God's way, for some reason, that I had to sacrifice the desire for someone good looking for someone godly. That don't even make sense. I believe that God tells us he wants us to He wants us to procreate, right? He wants us to make more people. In order to make more people, I'm trying to say this in a way that's politically correct. In order to make more people, you gotta be I gotta be attracted. And I'm just being real, okay? But I was like, Lord, your will be done. I really did pray that, but I also was like, Lord, please. Please let me be attracted to him. Lord, you know me. Nah, I'm gonna need to be attracted to him if this is gonna work, okay? I just knew it would be miserable to wake up every day and look over and be like, ugh. Like, who wants to do that? Like, I just didn't want to do that. I knew he was the one because of these 7 reasons. If you are dating your kingdom spouse, or if you are married to your kingdom spouse, how did you know he or she was the one? I want to know. Let's talk in the comments. And what are some things that you're doing as you're waiting on your kingdom spouse, like to know he was the one? What are you praying specifically about that? Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it and were encouraged. Remember that God is God and we are not. So we trust him and we're going to let him do his thing. See y'all next time. Bye.